Welcome to Film, where I break down films in a way anyone can enjoy. Whether you're new to movies or a seasoned fan, you're in the right place. In this video, we'll be going over my likes and dislikes of the movie Conclave. And honestly, I wasn't going to watch this movie until one of my friends named Tyler went to go see the movie and actually recommended it to me. Now, I saw the trailer at first, and I wasn't really too interested in it, but I'm actually glad I saw it. This movie was actually really good to me. And I don't know how you all felt. I don't know if you all liked it or disliked it, but let's get into it. Now, to help you get a feel of what this movie is about, pretty much the main point in the movie is who is going to be the new pope, because the recent pope in this movie happens to pass away, and now we have different cardinals who are trying to be elected to get the role of pope in the church. Now, at the start of this movie, I really like the feel of it felt super intense at the start. Like, you didn't really know what was going on. You were wondering why it was like the music sense was kind of scary in a way. It almost felt like I was watching a scary movie build up for a second. But it opens up with this person walking with a briefcase, and then it goes from that point to them walking into a room with a person on the bed, and the person on the bed happened to be the dead pope. And so you're watching it, you're wondering what happened, and I'm guessing he just passed away. And so you get more into the movie, or you get more into the sense of the scene. And after he dies and after they do everything they usually do, I guess, when a pope or a person dies of their religion, they start talking. And at first I was kind of confused, because I was like, what are they reminiscing? Are they trying to like figure out funeral expenses or something like that? But honestly, I think they were just trying to figure out their next move. That's what I was kind of feeling. I didn't understand what they were saying, to be honest, or like how they were talking, but I feel like that's what they were trying to do. After this, the main character of the story, I believe his name was Cardinal Lawrence, I believe, he takes it upon himself to be in charge of the Conclave, which I guess was like the congregation or like the group of people who were trying to become the new pope, I think. And you could tell that this guy, there was something troubling him. And that's kind of what I liked. And when you find out what was troubling him, I thought it was really cool, because he was really open about the fact that he was having trouble with his faith. And I thought that was pretty cool, because I was like, interesting. You're a cardinal. You're part of this group that is like, that has a pope in it. And you're like, wow, like he's struggling with his faith. And he was open about it. And I thought that was really respectable in my sense. Like, I started to like him because of that, because he wasn't trying to hide the fact that he was struggling with his faith. He was just out about it. And I thought that was really cool. Next, we move on, and we're getting into more of the, I guess, conspiracies or something. You can tell that everybody really wants to get this title of Pope, which, I mean, from what I know, because I'm going to be for real, I don't know too much about the religion when it comes to Pope and the rules for that and everything. But I could tell from the movie that everybody really wanted this title, like this responsibility. So you see all these different types of cardinals, or AKA leaders, come together, and you can tell like there's cliques. You can tell there's this group, there's that group. There was one group with this person named Cardinal Trembly. There was another group with this person named Cardinal Adeyemi. You could tell there was another one with Cardinal Tedesco. And then there was one that he was kind of a part of, but I could tell he was feeling a little bit cautious about being part of Cardinal Bellinelli's little clique. So then you're seeing like how worried they are when it comes to this election or this voting process. And you could tell, I mean, he's just trying to keep it as fair as possible. Like, that's his role in this. He's like the manager of this conclave. Now, bear with me, because I know you all are probably like, what the heck is going on? Like, why the heck do I care about this? But to be honest, it gets good. So the more we get into the movie, we're seeing more and more controversies of these 4 different people causing problems during the voting process. Like, we're seeing lies. We're seeing things that they have done in their past that ruins their chances of becoming pope. And we're seeing so many judgments where it's like, oh, do we really want this person to be the pope? Do we really want that person to be the pope? And I'm not going to lie. I got interested in it, because at first, at the start, I was like, what why, this is kind of boring. Like, this is kind of like, why is this important? But it's the way they carried it out. It's the way they did everything where I'm like, wow, like, I'm actually getting locked in on this movie. Even before they get started with this voting process, a new character comes into the story, and his name is Cardinal Benitez. And he comes out of nowhere. I believe they said that he was from Afghanistan, or he was this lone cardinal by himself, and the recent pope who died gave his blessing or gave him permission to be in the area to run for pope, I believe. Now, this new thing troubled a whole bunch, troubled Cardinal Tremblay, Tedesco, Bellinelli, Adeyemi, and, it didn't really take too big of an effect because he was by himself, so he didn't really have a clique, but you could tell that people were kind of threatened by a second of this. During this voting process, I believe there were 5 or 6 times, maybe even more, because there was a little montage that kind of threw me off, but there was so many times they had the revote because somebody didn't get the majority vote to win the title of Pope for the group. So each time they did a new vote, there was always a different person getting caught for doing something that isn't really, according to the Conclave, Pope worthy. I want to say, quote unquote, Pope worthy. But it was interesting just hearing about this because it just shows you how even in a high profile religious group, there are still the same problems that humans face today. It doesn't matter how religious you are, how evil you are, this and that. You're still doing the same stuff, the cliques, the gossip, the conspiracies, everything. Everybody does it. And I thought that was pretty cool to see because, they were almost like normal people. When you're watching the movie, they're doing the same exact things that normal people are doing today. And I just like that because it didn't really separate. They didn't really separate us from us. They seem like normal human beings, and I like that. Now, I put this part in my likes, but I thought it was really cool, or not really cool. It pissed me off, but I liked that this was part of the story because one of the cardinals, Bellinelli, said specifically that he wanted to give more attention to the sisters who were part of this conclave because, to be honest, this is the part that pissed me off. The sisters in this group were pretty much servants. They were just serving these different cardinals, and it was what the heck? They don't have any role? They can't even be popes? And I guess that's just part of the religion, but it was just weird to see, them in the back, making food, setting the tables, making sure the cardinals are good, and I don't know, it annoyed me. But the fact that Cardinal Bellinelli, he said that he wants to stand up for women. And then when Cardinal Benitez comes in, he says a prayer for everyone before they start eating. And part of the prayer, he thanks the sisters for making the food and for the hard work they put in for doing it. And I thought that was really cool because I'm like, bro, all the disrespect that was going on, and I just thought it was weird because you just have them as servants. And finally, I just like how somebody was acknowledging what they were doing. Because if they weren't and they were just woman, cook my food, make my bed, yada, yada, I would have been pissed the whole rest of the movie. But in a good way because, that's part of the story. But yeah, I thought that was really nice to see, even though it pissed me off. It was good for the story. Another that I put down was one that involved 2 cardinals that I thought was really crazy because this is one of the parts that made me pay attention a little bit more in the movie. So Cardinal Adeyemi he's one of the people who had a past apparently, and one of the sisters apparently he had sexual relations with, and what made it bad was she was 19 at the time and he was 30. And they had a child, and that child is in the foster care system, I believe, or with another family. But I thought it was crazy that, this news just came out, and it disqualified him from becoming the Pope. But this wasn't the craziest thing to me. The craziest thing to me was that the person that Adeyemi had the baby with, she apparently wasn't even from this conclave. Apparently, she was brought in by Cardinal Tremblay. And I was like, whoa, bro, that's a low blow. And he pretty much did that in order to sabotage Cardinal Adeyemi's chances of gaining the Pope name or position. And I was like, bro, that's crazy that you would go to like depths like that in order to just like mess with somebody. I was like, wow, that's messed up. And I don't know. I think that it just changed the story a little bit more, because then you're thinking, what else is going to happen? Like, who do you think is going to do the next like worst thing? And other stuff happens, but it pretty much just goes back to the voting process. And little do you know it, pretty much the main names that everybody was going to vote for, Bellinelli and Tedesco, because those were only two other people left, and then Lawrence too, all of a sudden, they're not even getting votes. Nobody wants to vote for them. The only person left is Cardinal Benitez. And I pretty much figured through the movie, I was like, bro, this guy's patient. This guy was like trying to do his like thing for everybody. He was trying to make it equal. And I was thinking he's the perfect person to be the Pope, the next Pope. Like, it just makes sense. But that's where I was like, oh shoot, like he's too perfect. What's going to happen next? So when Cardinal Benitez is voted the next new Pope of the Conclave, or I think for the whole religion, I'm not totally sure. When he wins the vote, Cardinal Lawrence, he's happy because he believes he kept it as fair as possible. Like, the best person won the name of the Pope. And all of a sudden, his assistant, or the person who gave him the news, comes up and he looks worried. And you're wondering, why the heck are you worried, bro? Like, this is what everybody wanted. Like, we got the most patient, most kind, most equal Pope, Cardinal nominated to be the Pope. And then he tells him a secret involving this person. And all of a sudden he marches in, talks to Benitez. And apparently you find out that Benitez is an intersex person. And you're like, whoa, oh snap. And this is where I stood on my seat, because I'm like, what are they going to do now? Like, that means they have to start the whole voting process over? Is he going to tell the conclave? No. Instead, he just leaves it alone. And I think he just leaves it up to Benitez to tell anybody. And I was just shook, because I was like, wait, how did he get away with that during the voting process? Because if anybody heard that in the voting process, they wouldn't have voted for him. But I just thought that was cool, because it was a big secret. I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be like, oh, he was like, I don't know what to expect. I thought he was just going to be the person. But hearing that, I was like, wow, like, it just shows you, like, no matter who you vote for, it's always not everybody's going to be the most perfect person possible. But like, once I said again earlier, like, these people were just like us. Like, everybody had their problems, gossip, secrets, you name it, but they're just like us. So this is where the movie ends, and it just ends with Cardinal Lawrence looking out the window to these people walking out, finally able to go back into the public, because while they're in the voting process, they can't really listen to news or anything that sways their vote. But it just ends right there, and boom. And I just thought that was a nice ending, because it was a nice, solid story. Started with some intensity and finished with some intensity, but I just like that it was a straight through story. Now, one of my dislikes I want to talk about, I actually, because I didn't have too many dislikes with it that were noticeable. Like, when I finished my list, I only had likes. That's a first, because usually I can get dislikes just like that. But honestly, it was just likes. But I put down like a few dislikes. And the first one I want to talk about is, I wish we got more of a sense of how dangerous it would be to elect Tedesco as Pope, Cardinal Tedesco, I'm sorry. Because to be honest, there was only one scene in the movie where you kind of, like, everybody was talking about what he believes, this and that, but you didn't really understand how bad it was going to get. Or maybe I just wasn't listening, but I kind of wanted more of I wanted to see more of him being more of a dangerous person. Like, being more of instead of Tremblay and the Adeyemi's thing, I wish he was the one who was behind it all, like the mastermind. I wish he was like kind of like a genius who just knew how to mess with people, pretty much. I just wanted him to be a little bit more of a threat. I feel like he was just in the background and people kept on saying, oh, he's bad, this and that. But we didn't really get enough of him talking and like showing his dominance to feel the threat, in my opinion. So that's one dislike. But once again, I did like this movie. Another thing I wanted to say was, I wish there were more betrayals. I wish there were more betrayals that messed with friendships in the Conclave. I wish there were people that, like, I know that not everybody is perfect, but it only showed 4 people being not as perfect in this, or actually 5, my bad. 5 people not being as perfect as they were trying to seem. But one example I wanted to use was, to be honest, and I know this may sound weird, I wish that Cardinal Bellini, my bad, I'm butchering the name. I wish that Cardinal Bellini was almost as villainous as Cardinal Tedesco, or as the way they were talking. I wish that he was the one to do the betrayal, and I feel like that would have been a super cool, like, scene to switch things up, where it was like, oh, now Cardinal Lawrence has to vote for Cardinal Benitez because his friend, or the person he was close with, actually isn't as good as he says he is too. I feel like that would have made the movie a little bit more impactful. I think it would have made it more like, oh shoot, so is it either Bellini or Tedesco? You know, when they eliminated Adeyemi and Tremley, I feel like that would have been like a cool scene, because then you're wondering who the heck is he going to vote for, and next thing you know, you see and you're like, oh, Benitez, boom. But I don't know, I feel like that would have made the movie a little bit more interesting to me. But I still liked it. I still liked the intensity through the movie. I liked the acting. I liked how serious they made it feel to us, because obviously this is the name of the Pope, so it has to be serious. Like whoever is named the Pope, I don't know how long the person who's named Pope is technically in office. Don't quote me on it. Actually, you can't quote me on this in my video, but I don't know how it works. So I don't know. I just wanted more of that danger feel to it. Like if you vote for this person, it's like, oh shoot, it's over. But yeah, man, I really liked this movie. I really liked how it introduced, or it even opened up and then ended, because it was a intense feeling. And then once they finally chose the Pope, it was just like this sigh of relief, like it's over, it's done. And I still find it funny that this movie came out like before the election, which was funny to me, but or the US election. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that. I just thought it was cool. And I think the timing of this movie was perfect. But to be honest, I want to give this movie a 7 out of 10. Now, I wouldn't mind watching this again, but once again, it's not like my favorite topic of voting process to watch over and over again, but I really did like the acting. I really did like how everybody was in this movie. I liked how real it got. And I liked that you could take something from this and apply it to your life. Like you could apply it to real life. And I think that's cool. So, yeah. I am going to give an apology to this movie, because when I did react to this trailer on my other channel, I wasn't too high on it. I was definitely not going to watch it. But once again, shout out to my boy Tyler. If he didn't tell me about it and give it raving reviews, I would have been watching here instead. And I'm still going to try to watch here soon. But yeah, if I were you guys, if you want to watch something that is interesting and you just want to think a little bit more, instead of just an action movie with a whole bunch of punching, whatever, I'd say go watch Conclave, or We Live in Time 2. We Live in Time will be the next video I'm going to do a review on. But anyways, guys, if you guys want more videos on films and everything else, make sure to add me on Instagram and YouTube. I'm your man, Film, and I'm going to see you guys later.